Welcome to the Run Radio podcast. My name is Trina Wilcox. My guest today, Samuel Knox with the UniteNews online publication. Welcome.
Thank you, Trina.
So tell me a little bit about this publication, how it got started, and what else you're involved in.
Well, sure. The UniteNews publication got started originally in 1988. And my background is graphic design, and it was always something that I knew would be something that would work well within our community. A little bit of background: I got together with a gentleman here in town, which is the co-founder, and we were talking one summer about how can we provide another communication channel, or our original communication channel, specifically for the local African-American families that lived in Springfield. At that time, it seemed like information was very fragmented in terms of, when organizations were doing things in the community, when churches were doing things. There were noteworthy, people doing important and interesting things in the community, and we just never saw that reflected in the mainstream media. And when that particular audience were reflected in mainstream, is very negative. So we wanted to create a communication piece that would kind of be a solution to that, of what we saw was a problem at that time. So we created the Unite newsletter at the time.
Okay.
And my co-founder, which is Mark Dixon, he wrote the content, and I put the content together with the images and produced a newsletter. It was a several-page newsletter at the time, and then we distributed it through our local, predominantly African-American churches. And so that was our first venture into this process, which now, some 30-something years later, we've kind of tweaked the name a little bit. Now it's the UniteNews publication. We publish monthly, but now we, by force, had to come into the 21st century and create a website and social media pages. And with that, we're able to get information and news out a little bit more frequently. Hopefully in the near future, we will be going to push content out by email and providing what you would call, I guess you could call it, our Unite News Plus, where we would be adding on maybe some video clips and additional news on a weekly basis. So those are kind of our history and plan for the future, all rolled up in one.
That's great. With the evolution, what kind of things did you come up against when you were trying to go with the flow and make the changes and make sure you had advertisers? Was that difficult?
That's a good question, because we wanted to know if we could support this type of business in the Springfield area, knowing that the population, the African-American population here, is 4% of the broader population. So if you're looking at about 170,000 people, that's only about 6,000 people that we had to distribute to. And with that, the readership of that particular population will be even smaller than that. So will we be able to attract advertisers to support the publications? We didn't know, but we said, well, if we can't do that, maybe we can apply for grant funding. Maybe we can get donations and offer, our contributors some type of tax break by their donations. So we applied for a 501c3 status with the IRS and received that. And we started as a nonprofit organization rather than a for-profit business. And since that time, the vast majority of our funding has either come from the ads that we sell in the publication, some grants that we apply for on a regular basis, and we also are able to raise funding through some of the events that we present throughout the year.
Is it easy for you to find contributors to write for the paper?
You know what? That has been relatively easy. We have a number of collaborative relationships with our local Springfield Greene County Library. We have a writer that writes for us from Springfield Public Schools. We have a cybersecurity column that writes for us. We have two health writers that write regular columns for us. And we're looking at some additional columnists that will be making some contributions to us on a regular basis as well. So getting columnists has been relatively easy. We have a very focused, targeted audience, and it's very clear that this is an audience that needs, resources, life skill resources, just like mainstream. As mainstream media communicates to our advertisers, and columnists can communicate their same messages to our targeted audience as well.
I see that, you do make sure you target family friendly. You've got a wide spectrum of readers, kids, families. Have you seen that change throughout the years? And what about like the college demographic? Because this is a college town. How are you in touch with that bridge?
You're right. We recently, and I say recently, that's been over the last several years, have really connected with our young people and our young readers. There is a local literacy organization called UGMA who partner with us, and they do kind of a kids page for us. And they help us find funding for it, and they publish their kids page on a monthly basis. We have, of course, a number of columns that would be of interest to your 30-somethings, your families, and even your seniors. Your college age is a little bit harder nut to crack for us. We haven't necessarily been as relevant and generating content for that specific demographic, but that's something that we want to do in the future. And as we connect with interns from either MSU or Drury or OTC, that's a little bit easier to do. Because when you have young people around you, they can kind of communicate to you what their interests are, and we kind of glean from that.
Yeah, very good. You've got this citywide event that you do every year. Tell me about that and how long it's been going on and how it began.
Yes, every year it's on the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday in January. We do the Springfield Multicultural Festival, and this coming festival in 2024 will be our 27th annual event for putting on that event in the Springfield area. It originally was an idea that was born out of a citywide retreat that was held in Branson back in the early 90s. And I was a part of that retreat, and there were 2 or 3, maybe 4 takeaways and priorities that came out of that retreat. And one of them was valuing our diversity here locally in Springfield. And we were looking at ways of doing that. So we thought it would be a great idea to create a festival that highlighted different ethnicities in our community, and to really allow our corporate sponsors a way to participate and buy into that, and to associate with the target audience that we were shooting for. And it has been relatively successful. Our audiences have been about 2,500 to 3,000 consistently every year. We moved the event. We were holding it at the Juanita K. Hammonds Hall for years and years because they have a large stage there for our performers. And if you're familiar with that facility, there's multi-levels in the foyer, and we would set up our vendors on those levels, but it was a little bit cumbersome to get around there. So we wanted everything in one big room. So we moved to the Oasis Convention Center and Hotel. I think a couple of years before the pandemic hit, and that was a really win-win for for us. We were able to put our vendors and the entertainment all in the same area. The food area, which is a really hit at the event, really worked well there at the hotel. And so it's an event, it's a half-day event, usually from about 12 to 4 o'clock. And two components mainly. We have a number of exhibitors there that will talk about their ethnicities and their backgrounds and parts about their culture. And they also do performances on stage as well, and communicate that. And sometimes they invite people on stage to participate and to join in and to experience their cultures. And of course, there's always food, and that's a fun part for everyone. But the event is really to help highlight our local diversity, ethnic diversity here in Springfield, and really to understand who our neighbors are around us. And it really works well. And I think it continues to create a sense of community here in Springfield for all the people who live here and call it home.
And people that want to keep up on that, do you have a link or a web page or a Facebook social media so they can make sure they don't miss that when it comes around next year?
Absolutely. If you want to keep up with what's going on with that festival and with the information that we put on our social media page, you can go to Springfield Multicultural Festival and just spell all that out, and it will take you to our Facebook page. And we're posting on a regular basis about local events, information that is of a multicultural nature. And then as we get closer to the festival, you'll see more information about how to participate and when the next event is going to come up. And so check out that page, and I think you can get all the information you need for it on there.
Sounds great. Tell me a little bit about yourself. I'm assuming you were born and raised in the area.
Well, I'm originally from Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
And we moved to Springfield in 1973.
Mhm.
My father moved his family he's originally from Springfield, but he was in Kansas City and married my mom in Kansas City. And he moved the family to Springfield, and he is a pastor. So he's the senior pastor of Deliverance Temple Ministries. It's a non-denominational church. And so when we came to Springfield, I attended school here. I think my freshman year was at Hillcrest, and then they found a home in Nixa, and we moved the family to Nixa, and which was really a different experience for me because I'm from Kansas City area, which is really an urban area, and to a little tiny town called Nixa, and we lived right across the street from a dairy farm, and the first time I had a cow was in the Swope Park Zoo. So it was a neat experience. And I went to school there from my sophomore to senior year, graduated there, came back to Springfield to attend Southwest Missouri State University, found my wife, and we've been married for 41 years and have one son and have one grandson now.
Oh, amazing.
So yeah, I love the Springfield and Southwest Missouri area, and I think it's one of the best kept secrets in the state of Missouri.
Of those secrets, are there any little nuggets that you think that we would be surprised to know about that you've learned by doing all of your writing and connecting and networking in the area?
I meet so many people and have met so many people over the years because of my position with the publication and how it kind of forces me to get out and meet people. I'm relatively a private person, but it kind of pushes me to meet new people. And I've been very open to serving on different boards and different committees for a long time now. But I think, a jewel that we have here in the Ozark is our Ozark outdoor area. During the pandemic, my wife and I discovered the Greenway Trails that are here in the Ozarks, and just saw all the beautiful scenery that we had really didn't know that was here, or we never had the time to really experience. So I think that's a jewel here. I think that we live in one of the most beautiful parts of the country. We experience all 4 seasons, and I think that's a jewel here that a lot of people, if you don't know about the Ozark Trails or Greenway, take an afternoon and try to experience that. I think you'll really be, excited about what you see out there.
I'd have to agree. Those are very beautiful trails, and our greenways trails, they keep improving them constantly. So yes, check those out. Anything else you want to share before we close?
Well, I think that it's important to experience new things. This year, I think full blown, the Juneteenth celebration has come online as a federal holiday, and we'll be celebrating that this coming weekend. And there are a number of events that will take place this weekend, from the Springfield Art Museum to the Expo Center, and I think some other places here in town as well. We'll be at the Expo Center sharing information about our publication and participating in some of those events. But I just encourage people to get out, experience some of the different festivals that we have here in Springfield. I think that you'll find that people are really, this is a really warm part of the country. Sometimes the perception is a little bit different than the actual people that are here, but I think that once you get to know people, I think that you find out that people are people. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. And the only way to do that is to get together and rub shoulders.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing, Samuel Knox. Come back anytime.
Thank you so much, Trina.